Hey, what's up guys, DiplexHeated here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2 and the Red Rising mod. Welcome back to the Soviet coastal fortress here that we've seen previously. In the last episode, the North Koreans attacked the fortress during the night with a special forces company in an attempt to destroy and weaken some of the defenses that the fort had so that the North Korean Navy could roam a little more freely outside near the coast there by the border of Russia and North Korea. I believe that sea is called the Sea of Japan, as a matter of fact. Well, it was a partially successful operation, but they did not manage to secure the fortress. If the North Koreans had managed to actually secure it, we would probably be witnessing a Russian counterattack today, but that is not the case. The Russians have been given quite some time now to prepare the defenses, and the North Koreans are going to be attacking them with a lot of assets on the ground, and it's going to be a very bloody battle, and I am very excited to see it play out. So we're going to take a quick look at some of the new Russian assets on the ground here and some of the defenses that they have quickly set up here in an attempt to brace for further attacks here. The North Koreans are right out here, as you can tell, and they're ready to attack, and that's only the first wave. They have plenty of armored vehicles and infantry that has been designated to this attack itself. This is pretty much the only area where North Korean and Russian ground forces can meet in battle. This thin strip of land on the border here, south of China. No one is touching China. China has not chosen to get involved yet. So this is going to be very interesting to see where this conflict potentially heads in the future. A lot of more infantry has been sent here. Some of the more explosive trucks and vehicles have been carried out, of course, and replaced with more weapons and BMPs and whatnot. We've got some tank trenches here, which is really cool. More BTRs, more BMPs, lots of good positions back here in case the front line falls. We have more artillery and some T-64 BVs back here. We also have the beautiful Pion, which is an amazing artillery piece, which is back here. This was one of my favorite vehicles in World in Conflict. That game was amazing, and this was my favorite Russian artillery piece to call, and I used to play support all the time. I loved it, bringing down plenty of noise and explosions on the battlefield. So this is going to be, hopefully, a very cool battle indeed. And the North Koreans, this is not all they have. They have plenty of assets to throw at the Russians here, because, as I said, this is the only strip of land where ground forces can meet in battle. So plenty of Russian infantry, a whole battalion, rota. Isn't rota a name for the battalion? I think. Or is it company? Because I'm basing it off the Russian name for the movie and game 9th Company, so Rota might be company. But there's well, I got plenty of comrades, Russian-speaking friends, who watch my YouTube videos, so you can probably address that a little more accurately than I can. But yes, there's plenty, and it's going to be a cool battle. I'm excited. There's a lot of North Korean infantry attacking as well, but they won't be dismounting until they kind of break to the barricade. Unless, of course, the vehicles get destroyed, then everyone will be dismounting. But it would be a kill zone to have your infantry dismount here. You want them to dismount near the cover and near the enemy as possible. So it's going to be a cool fight. I'm excited. Look at this, what this map has turned out to. It's a bloody borderline right here right now with all the sandbags and makeshift. Like, they've dug some trenches here too. This line, where are they? Oh yeah, they can move up here. But it's like, if you get pushed back, you'll have barbed wire behind you. So it's not optimal. So I'm going to be back in 1 second, make sure that everything is set for the battle. And, well, then we're going to have a good one. So see you guys in just a minute. And hopefully you will enjoy this fight. Alright, it's time to start the battle. And the North Koreans will, as their first move, send up a few tanks to test the enemy defense and see what it's good for. We'll see what the Russians will reply with. Actually, as a matter of fact, 6 North Korean main battle tanks are moving up, and the battle is on. Look at the destruction. Absolute kill zone to be advancing in the open like this, but the North Koreans have not got much of an option and choice right now. Oh, BMP down here in the front. Plenty of infantry being shot back. Most of the Russian infantry is trying to stay down here by the sandbags and in the trenches, waiting for North Korean infantry to be targeted. Some targets are appearing there in the distance, but rockets are being traded back and forth here. Look at that fire. We even have the peons back there opening up. Look at those beautiful pieces back there. Haha. We see the impacts down there, those huge explosions. Oh, there's a lot of more North Korean tanks attacking here on the right side, supported by lighter armored vehicles. Look at this. I think they're gonna try and break, try and go for the weak point right here and potentially break the actual defenses. One of the Russian main battle tanks have gone down right there. Look at that formation. They're almost shielding each other, making sure that they can't get hit in the flanks. Oh, but the Russian infantry up close there is gonna make quick work of some of the North Korean tanks who got a little too close. Oh, that AA vehicle, just as I was about to see what all the noise was about, it is quickly destroyed. How's this fortress doing? Oh man, it's not so good to put all the soldiers up there, but the Russians are acting freely here. If I do catch some guns being uncrewed, I'm going to do my best to crew them again to make sure that there's a maximum firepower. Oh, I think he needs to repair the gun. Oh, he actually ended up outside the fortress. That isn't very good at all. That is not what you want. Can you crew the gun? Okay, I'm going to not spend any more than 1 second trying to fix that. Yes, it worked. Cool. Well, the attack is continuing. More of the lighter armored vehicles are moving closer to the barricades. What their goal is obviously break through the barbed wire and get closer to the back. But as soon as the vehicles are like taking too much serious and heavy fire, and ultimately if they aren't destroyed, the infantry inside will dismount. But otherwise, they will try and keep the infantry inside the vehicles until they get to the cover itself. Lots of North Korean infantry have dismounted here. Yeah, you don't want to end up in the open here. Most of these men are trying to stay down, crawl up towards the enemy. But just look at the Russian firepower right here. These trenches are very well manned. Some of the sandbags have gone down. Plenty of Russian casualties behind. Not to mention here, this has been an absolute kill zone. Just emptied up completely. And there's even a lot of North Korean infantry around here. I think what the North Korean needs is a breach. And will they get it? Well, that is the question. I have helped the Russians crewing guns that they so desperately need here in order to defend. So, oh, I tried. If I get the option to perhaps use a vehicle here to break through one of the actual barbed wires, then I will try my best to do so, because that will really open it up for the infantry to make things a lot more interesting. It's gonna get through, and there we go. Some barbed wire has been opened up, and North Korean infantry has breached the first defensive line. Now all the infantry back here will have, obviously, areas to go to, but even without my commanding, it seems like most of these armored vehicles actually can do that on their own, so hopefully that shouldn't upset too many people out there who like to be opinionated about things, which is also, of course, very good. Russian artillery back here is going to be really put to the test now. Oh, jeez. Man, there's just so many North Korean assets still attacking the Russian positions. Plenty of infantry being stormed out now as well. Some of the trenches over here are holding, but it's going to be a very gruesome and gritty close quarters fight. North Korean infantry in the open there, engaging the Russian infantry behind the sandbags. More North Korean armor coming in as well. Oh, rockets away. Look at that. Some infantry's actually made it through here. They're starting to battle the Russians who are desperately trying to hold their front here. Look at how many people have been killed inside the base. Granted, of course, most of the... Oh, look at that. Most of the casualties back here have been... Oh, look at that rocket fired. Awesome. I think we just caught that. RPG soldier right here who broke down a vehicle. Nice. That is so cool. Perfect position there in the open. More Russian soldiers here trying to shoot down the North Koreans attacking from that side. Obviously, they still want to hold the fortress. Even though they can hold it back, they don't want to allow the North Koreans to get too close and into the fortress itself. They do have plenty of Russian soldiers holding it down here. Mortars and people crawling about up here with machine guns and whatnot. I think they'll be fine, but they've taken so many casualties, especially people up in the tower who have been shot down. The RPGs are still active, the mortars are still active. The North Korean troops, what choice they have is to probably try and storm through the barricades. It seems like the most reasonable choice right now. Any survivors over here? It's hard to see. Many of them are standing down. There's plenty of North Koreans out here in the open, but they'll be best to just hold it down, stay calm, and not make too many sudden moves. Otherwise, they'll be shot to death. There's plenty of North Korean infantry up behind the tank wreckage out here in the open. Another North Korean tank is joining the fray. Or entering it, rather. Some of the tanks are probably being repaired. We can see some of the tracks being touched back there. It's going to come in here to... Ooh, it's quickly shot down, though. Look at that. The crew will be dismounting quickly. And suddenly all the infantry out here who was trying to stay low and in cover has now just been detected. It's not a very good surprise at all. As a matter of fact, they're forced to pull back. Another North Korean tank is coming in. But the Russian defenses have been so shook up. But obviously a lot of North Koreans dead. I don't think he paid attention to some of the comrades hiding nearby. I think both of the... Ooh, nice rocket hit, but it was deflected. Another one, it was also deflected. Third one, and it's gonna go down. Oh, look at that volley. But yes, as I suspected, these BMPs have been completely destroyed. The peons back here are still active, and both of these T-64s BVs, which is not... It's not from the 1964s. The BV variant was developed later in the 70s and perhaps 80s, I believe. Anyway, that aside. Ooh, look at that. They are still active back here, but plenty of infantry have gone down. These BMPs should still be active, and the peons are still obviously active, but they won't do much to North Korean armor if the North Korean armor gets through. Some Russian infantry have made it up here to one of the destroyed tanks. Look, some are even like doing some forward scouting up here by the actual barbed wire to make sure the North Koreans don't sneak up on the fortress. The guns and some of the side positions are still manned. The mortars up here are still manned. I want to make sure that we get some trusty Russian men on the machine guns themselves, as they should always be crewed. Without doing too much to change the tide of the battle, just basically make sure the defenders act like defenders. This attack is far from over. Look at that, mortars being put down. This is crazy. Darkness has fallen over the battlefield, but the attack is far from over. Second wave of North Korean attackers have been sent to attack the Russian defenses, and I think the Russians were a little overconfident to send out skirmishers to deal with the remaining North Korean attackers from the first wave. I'm not sure if that was such a great idea, because a lot of the Russians will be easily targeted out there in the open, away from their cover, backed by the defensive line, who has been, by the way, torn up so badly. So many North Korean tanks and soldiers have gotten through. The fort itself is close to falling completely. Sandbags being blown away there by some of the heavier North Korean weapons. Oh, this is not looking good at all. Oh, look at that! What is this? A Russian BM-21 Grad has arrived to the battlefield. It seems like it's just getting ready to fire a rocket salvo at the attacking North Koreans. This is something the Russian would definitely like to see happening. Will we see a rocket salvo fired? I believe so. A peon back here took a hit. I think a North Korean tank got close enough to shoot it. If this Grad does not unleash a rocket salvo in seconds, then the, well, defenders on the front line there is going to take more and more beating from the attacking North Koreans. Well, it sure seems to be ready for it. Perhaps it's looking for a much more doable target. Even more North Korean vehicles are coming in. This is going to be impossible for the Russians back there to hold. They're starting to lose their tanks. Even their artillery pieces back here are starting to take fire. This one has been decrewed right now because it actually took... Perhaps that was a stray bullet, I'm not sure, or a stray shell, but it did take shot. More North Korean tanks and infantry's moving in as well. They don't seem to be running out of assets, but do remember that we're close to their country here, and even though we're close to Russia's country too, this is in the Far East, and in this case, at this time, and at this point of the Cold War, Russia had more assets on the west, facing the Allies. But obviously, what they could muster so quickly and set up with the defense here is obviously quite great. That BM-21 Grad is not fired yet. Well, it has definitely aimed its rockets at a target. It just hasn't pulled the trigger yet. I am not sure why. Let's see if we can move it up a tiny bit. I love that engine. Come on, even. Come on, even. Ivan! Look at that explosion light up the darkness like that. It's beautiful. But if it doesn't pick a target and fire soon, it's going to become the target of so many North Korean vehicles moving up right now. Tanks back here ought to be running out of shells soon. Rocket fired, almost hit the T-64BV. That would have been really bad for the right flank here. Pretty much only infantry remaining. And look at that, the rockets are being fired. Oh, that is going to light up the area quite nicely. Oh, yes. That's wonderful. That's beautiful to see. Oh, even torching some of the units there. Oh, that BM-21 Grad being put to good use. That is wonderful. These vehicles are pretty much put out of commission. Yes, it does seem like we have a few active North Korean vehicles here who I'm going to, of course, leave untouched. But that rocket salvo did a lot of damage, but it met the unfortunate end of being hit and destroyed. It did deliver its payload, though, which was the whole goal of that thing. That is very cool. That is very cool indeed. But the North Korean attack is still not over, and the first line of attack is just being pummeled still. Or the first... Sorry about that. The first defensive line. You can see almost the sun rising in the horizon there. It's been a long night, and it's been a long day previously of just really harsh fighting. This vehicle is determined to move up. It's going to use the wreckage of another one for a little bit of cover there as it moves up. But if one of those rockets hit, it's going to end up pretty bad for it, but it's going to avoid it. It's going to get hit again, though, which is going to shook the crew up a bit. Another rocket is going to be fired. But they're just shooting away. Look at those sandbags being torn up. It's down. North Korean infantry is going to dismount. Plenty of them, too. I think best for the North Koreans would be to return fire instantly. They're going to try and seek some cover. How's it looking on this side? More North Korean infantry moving up. I think if they try and break through the actual defenses, they might have a good one. Well, they're going to try. More mortars dropping down on their heads. Few remaining Russians in the foxholes up here are opening up at some of the North Korean attackers, obviously dealing damage while hidden. Some of the North Koreans have made it to the trench here. It's gonna be not overly welcomed to the Russian defenders here, but they're gonna deal with the invaders rather quickly, it seems. Oh, more North Korean armor is being sent up. This seems to be the final push. This has to make it. They have to knock out the remaining Russian armor for this to really work out. It's gonna squeeze another North Korean tanks under itself like it was not a problem at all, and break itself in here. It's even opening up at some of the mortar positions. Oh, some close range artillery support missed the armor itself, but a rocket took it out. These positions are so heavily pummeled as well. One of the peons are down, both BMPs are smoking. The rocket artillery back here and the infantry back here have... Many have faced the same fate of as many Russian infantrymen up here on the front line, which has been completely eliminated. There's nothing left of it, but from what I can tell, artillery and infantry fire has pinned and killed all remaining North Korean attackers out here. What an absolute crazy fight. But it's safe to say that it is over indeed, and that the North Korean attack is no more. I think over 60 vehicles were used in this attack, close to 80 probably. Obviously close to 70 would be a better, more logical number to use, but so many indeed. And there's a few North Koreans back here who I think we're just going to let be. Their number is currently, obviously, well, what do you call it? Unimportant is the wrong word, but it's undeciding in this matter right now. Without any more armor support. What the fuck was that? That was a green shell. Looked like a plasma cannon or something. Jeez. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon again. What a crazy battlefield. Let's have a look. Yellow North Koreans, red Russians. And obviously there would be a lot more North Koreans. Probably twice the amount of dead Russians. But since bodies do disappear with explosions, it just looks to be like a platoon scattered around here, which is quite an unrepresented number. Look at the casualties though. That is absolutely insane. Wow. Crazy. And some of the Russian artillery and tanks back here are going to be picking at some of the hopelessly targeted North Korean targets out there who obviously can't do anything about it. Is this tank repaired? No. It just even dismounted. I was going to try and repair. I don't think anything's going to come out of that. Let me take control of this guy. Oh, he's already targeting it. Good, you know what to do. Then fire away, buddy. Oh, you missed. Whatever. We'll leave that guy alone. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle. I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao.